Hello everyone, Nick again. Um, Today we're going to be doing something a little different here today. Today we are going to do a little reading of the book that I'm currently writing. For no other reason than I want to, and I hope one day that this book actually gets written and published, and maybe this can be used as a audiobook of sorts for my book. But for now, we are going to get started. So the name of the book is The Dragonstorm Crisis. And what I'm going to be reading today is the prologue of this. Sorry, I should clarify. It is The Dragonstorm Crisis, a Shattered Kingdom story, because it is set in my world, my D&D world, the Shattered Kingdoms, which my D&D players and some of my past D&D players should be familiar with. Perhaps maybe some people watching this channel might be familiar with it. The old videos from like years ago for campaigns that were never really finished. Those are set in the Shattered Kingdoms as well. However, those were a good like 5,000 years after when this book takes place. The campaign that I'm going to be running for Shattered Kingdoms, the one that I ran in the past, took place in the year about 10,000 AS, or after Shattering, whereas this is taking place 5,000 AS, or 5,000 years after the Shattering occurred. And just to give a little background on the world, it used to be ruled by this one empire. Like the entire world, everything was under its rule. This empire united all the races across the world, and everyone followed them until eventually some people got really tired of the empire. The rulers got really corrupt, and that kind of just came to a head with Nolave declaring independence. A bunch of emperors died. The patron god of the empire decided he needs to intervene and creates Tyrion, who eventually becomes the emperor, and launches a crusade to kind of reunite the empire under sole rule, and that kind of starts the Shattering War, which is this apocalyptic war where the gods of the world take sides, and millions, if not billions, of people die, as well as a few gods. And the war ends when Tyrion uses some long forbidden magic to trap the essence of a god into several stones, which he uses to enhance his own power and the power of his followers, with the end goal being to use this power to reconquer the world, basically. The gods, they didn't like that. All the gods turned against the empire at that point, and in a moment of weakness, they all decided, hey, life in this world ain't worth it, so let's kill everyone. And so they tried. The only god that really understood that was a terrible idea was Bahamut, who sacrificed himself to prevent all life in the world being wiped out. and at the cost of his own life. Now, that didn't completely stop the full wrath of the gods. No, it merely weakened it. Approximately 90% of the world's population was still wiped out, and like even now, 10,000 years later, the world hasn't completely healed. Like the world's not the same technological or developmental level as it was before, where you once had one empire ruling everything. Now you have several petty kingdoms fighting over everything. And where once you had this continent-spanning empire, you have all these different continents that don't even know that there is such a thing as other continents. Like, everyone's too busy killing each other on their own little corner of the world to really look outside and be like, hey, there's more people out there. We could, like, trade with them or do something productive instead of killing everyone. But no. Yeah, and then in that kind of setting, those god stones, the things Tyrion created with the essence of a god, they're still out there. And that's going to be a focus of this story. Trying to minor spoilers, that's going to play a part in this story and into my D&D campaign that I'll be running. These stones obviously are very powerful and very deadly. But I have rambled on about the background for the Shattered Kingdoms for what is it now, like almost 10 minutes, so I'm going to start reading the prologue here. So the Dragonstorm Crisis Prologue, Shattered Kingdom story. 1 year, 37 days until the Dragonstorm Crisis. Of all the horrifying things, it was the eyes that troubled her most. Those void, black, dead eyes that stared into the very soul. Not the fact that her best friend was in half a dozen pieces around her, or that most people she knew were now dead. It was those cold, soul-piercing, void black eyes. She should be thinking of a way to save herself. But all she could think about was those damned evil eyes. His eyes floating in front of her menacingly. She had seen those eyes before, for they were the eyes of her emperor. 2 years before the Dragonstorm Crisis. Luna stood at attention with a few thousand other hopefuls during the selection ceremony. It had been some time since the need had arose for a new legionary to be recruited, but the gravity of the situation was not lost on anyone. The 999th Legion, or Last Legion as everyone called it, must always be at full strength, for it was tasked with the most important mission of all: protect the Emperor at all costs. Not that he needed much protecting these past few thousand years, with only the occasional lost treasure hunter coming to visit Croc Norge. Easy pickings, even for an auxiliary like Luna. For the combined strength of the 50,000 of the Emperor's command, it was almost a laughable contest. But still, the Legion must be whole. Even the smallest crack could be exploited. Hey, who do you think they're gonna pick? Drod, disheveled half-elf, half-orc with straggly red hair, asked Luna. I don't know, but they say Emps himself is going to pick the replacement. Luna responds before being drowned out by the chatter of the other hopefuls. Members of every race from every corner of the 3 charted continents was represented among their number. aging from barely reaching to adulthood to barely able to keep both feet out of the grave. With so many people here to fill the only one open position, no one had any hopes that it would be them, least of all Luna. Sure, being a Legionnaire would be a dream come true for her, or anyone else here for that matter. It had been what they had been raised for, what they had been recruited for, every last one of them. Luna herself could trace her ancestry to before the Shattering, where even then her family served the Emperor. To finally bring honor to all her ancestors, but becoming a Legionnaire would go a long way to... Luna did not have time to finish her thought, as the room went dead silent. That is when she saw them for the first time. Those cold, void black eyes staring through her Emperor's eyes. Not a single person spoke as those eyes moved across the room, surveying each and every one of them. It was sitting down upon a throne at the head of the room. Emperor Tyrion looked back at his troops, but Luna swore he looked right at her. Today, we are here to mourn the death of Legionnaire Tarius. His services shall not be forgotten, and his chains are finally broken. But we are also here to acknowledge a fact Tarius knew well, that nothing will stop us from carrying out our duty for the good of the Empire. So with hearts racked with grief, we must honor the memory of Tarius by ensuring his duty is carried out once more. Who among you is worthy of taking the place of this man, this soldier, this hero? Tyrion said before cheers from the crowd erupted, everyone pleading to be the one chosen. Everyone, that is, except for Luna. As those otherworldly eyes stared at her, Luna could not help but feel like she and everyone else there was a fool. Did they not see the malice and contempt behind those eyes? That cold, calculating, inhuman nature behind them? Or even the way those eyes hovered from person to person like a hunter picks out its prey? No, they didn't see it. They couldn't. Could they really see it and so blindly cheer this man? This thing claiming the title of Emperor? She was horrified to think that they might not care. What other purpose was there for them but to serve and die for their Emperor? That is what she was raised to believe. Seeing him now, Luna was filled with doubt, mirrored on none of the surrounding faces. Not even Drod. Drod saw it, but those eyes saw it. Those cold, dead, void, black, hungry eyes. Please do not pick me. Do not pick me. Anyone but me, was all that Luna dared think, her whole body suddenly paralyzed with fear. Would Auxiliary Trooper Luna step forward? Tyrion said as Luna felt her heart fall. The sweat beaded down her brow, and she felt time stop for what seemed for an eternity. Why me? Why, gods, why did that thing have to choose me? Please, please let this be some horrible nightmare. This thing can't be the Emperor. It can't be. It can't be the thing she dedicated her whole life to. It can't. Her thoughts died in her mind as she came to the horrifying realization she was not alone in her mind. It was here. It was listening. She felt it, and she could see it in those void black eyes. Soon all 50,001 eyes in that room were staring at her. Oh, sorry. Soon all 50,001 sets of eyes in that room were staring at her, but Luna could only see those two. The cold, dead, void eyes that followed her every move, and would stick with her the rest of her days. Whether of her own free will or not, Luna soon found herself standing in front of her emperor. Only a few feet from him, she felt those eyes stare deep into her very soul. She saw then that his personal guard had the same gut-wrenchingly creepy, void black eyes. The guard's only General Eldorn, commander of the Lobson Theater, gave her a nod. He saw it too. She saw it in his face. That grim acceptance that one is serving the powers of evil, not out of some misguided ideals of virtue, but because one does not have a choice. She knew she didn't have a choice either. She had to do her duty. The alternative was death. She shuddered. That thought was not her own. Getting her first good look at him, Luna realized just how young Emperor Tyrion really looked. For being over 5,000 years old, he still had the body of a 10-year-old human boy with short blonde hair and an innocent-looking face. It was only the eyes that seemed out of place, and one looked like nothing more than a common human boy. Luna could feel the magical aura from those eyes deep down in her heart. Whatever this being called Tyrion was, his power was so immense she wouldn't be surprised if he could kill everyone here on a whim. Why do we serve this thing? Do we even have a choice? Luna, as Emperor of the Netherian Empire, rightful Lord of Lavsa, Grand Explorer of Wildefront, Protector of all peoples, Grand Scholar of Magic, Breaker of Chains, the Liberator of the worlds, and God among men, I proclaim you worthy of the title Legionnaire, if you so choose to accept it. Tyrion said, his eyes surveying Luna as if trying to pinpoint something too minuscule to properly see, sizing her up like a predator does its prey. I do accept this honor, my emperor, on this day, until my last day, Luna heard in a voice like her own. What other choice did she have? To refuse would mean death. What horrors that thing in front of her could inflict. She didn't want to know. Good, good. Then I proclaim you Legionnaire, Luna. Standing up from his throne, Tyrion adds, through victory our chains are broken, raising his fist in the imperial salute, which was just as quickly returned by 50,000 other fists. 50,000 voices rang out in response. Through victory our chains are broken! Long live the Empire! Long live the Emperor! But Luna did not hear them. All she heard was the cold voice of her Emperor. His ethereal, otherworldly voice could drown out the light of light itself. I have a special mission for you, Luna. One of great importance. You must travel to the Shattered Kingdoms and kill Hendrik Storm. 1 year, 37 days until the Dragonstorm crisis. You must kill Hendrik Storm. Played through Luna's mind as she felt the glare of those void black eyes. She had to find this Hendrik Storm fellow and warn him. Those organization bastards that shot her ship down found her at that point. Well, at least the Emperor's plans would be foiled then. The world would continue as it always had, and the nightmare would be over. Then they melted. She couldn't describe it better if she tried. Those cold black void eyes blinked and they melted. Hell, they didn't even have time to scream even. What the hell was that? Luna looked down at the ash sludge that was her pursuers. Best get out of here and warn Hendrik Storm before it was too late. Please, gods, don't let it be too late. And that, my friends, was the prologue to the Dragonstorm Crisis. And I hope you all enjoyed that. Please feel to like and subscribe. It helps the channel immensely. I might add a Patreon or Coffee link at some point, so if that ever comes up, please feel free to donate. That would help me immensely. I hope you all have a great day. Bye. Thank you all for your support.